All
Wait,
right, you're
hold
good
on.
to
Can you
go?
stop the recording? I'm sorry.
Sure.
All right. My name's Cooper Davis. This is my barnyard project. So I went over to Central PA Food Bank. Central Pennsylvania Food Bank is a nonprofit organization dedicated to fighting hunger and food insecurity across central Pennsylvania. It works to provide nutritious foods to individuals and families in need. Um, cool facts about the food bank. Central PA Food Bank alone feeds over 250,000 families each year. They use volunteer work to supply like their workloads. So like they have enough volunteer work to cover like 50 like full-time employees if you like did the math or whatever. How I helped on my first day, they basically just had me like making the boxes and stuff. We were aiming to make 150 boxes, so that's like 150 families pretty much. And then we passed our goal to get 200. Day two, they had me like lifting all the boxes. So kind of like a pain, but yeah, we did good. Got all of our boxes in there. They're like 32 pounds each. Aim for 200. This was only like an hour and a half. And then this day, they had me doing that, but we ended up doing 17 pallets worth. So we had to make like 600 boxes, and this was a lot. We were there for like 4 hours working. Overall summary, it was cool to help out and knowing that the food I was packaging is going to help someone. Um, Doing volunteer work has also made me feel good about myself, giving back to the community. And that's pretty much it for my barnyard project. Go up over here. Should I just start my tech assignment one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just go for it.
All right. All right. Here we go. All right. So for my tech assessment, I did the an MRI machine. Very fancy. Background information. MRI stands for Magnetic Resonance Imaging. It is a technology that uses magnetic fields and radio waves to produce detailed images of internal organs and tissues. Um, MRI technology has revolutionized medical imaging by providing high resolution images while little exposure to radiation. However, its cost and sometimes are some and it's sometimes hard to book an appointment to get MRIs done. With the early creation in the medical field being first used in 1977 and more massively produced in the 80s, MRIs were the first of their kind, leaving high detailed images of tissue, muscles, and structure of the body or ligaments in particular. I myself have had multiple MRIs done, uh, just for like soccer and stuff, and then my hips are like all messed up, and they go in there and they like sit you in the machine. It's pretty cool, but it takes like 45 minutes, so it's not the fastest and most efficient thing, and I can see how there's like some issues with it. Values, accuracy. I mean that's a big one. The ability of the MRI to provide detail and precise imaging. Safety, minimizing risk associated with the procedure. This is like the discomfort and stuff, like laying down in a tight space like that. It's pretty much just like an enclosed tube. So like people with like claustrophobia and stuff like that, being in like an isolated location like that is like, I don't know, discomfortable. Efficiency, optimizing the use of the MRI machines. So this is like a big thing. Like hospitals get booked up because that's pretty much where they're only located at, and then nicer doctors' offices. So it's like it's only accessible for like some people. Um, and then sustainability, reducing the environmental impact of MRI machine production. So this is just like for hospitals and stuff. This is just like a part of their thing. Like just take it back. Principles, accuracy. MRI scans must maintain the highest diagnosis precision to guide effective treatment. Like if a better option comes up for like an MRI, then obviously like they're not gonna keep making them and they're just gonna fall off. Um, Safety, MRI procedures must adhere to strict safety protocols. So this is just like I said, the discomfort stuff. When I went in and did my MRI, it was like to like cope with it. They kind of give you like headphones and stuff, so you can like they let you play your music while you're in there, so you can just sit down and like relax. Efficiency, healthcare system should maximize MRI utilization. As I said, that principle needs to be worked on. And then sustainability, manufacturers and healthcare providers should adopt practices that minimize the environmental impact of MRI machines. Policies is the same, pretty much same stuff. Accuracy, MRI machines should undergo routine calibration and maintenance. Safety, this is just like training, and MRI facilities must provide pre-scan safety assessments. Sustainability, healthcare facilities should prioritize energy efficient. So this is just like how they use them and stuff. Should I take back? Analysis of practices, the strengths. MRI technology provides unparalleled imaging quality and for many conditions. New advancements such as open MRI machines improve patient comfort and accessibility. They suit machines to be more comfortable. That's just like how they like make you lay down and so you're not sitting straight up. Improvements needed. Increased investment in training programs to ensure skilled workforce, creating faster processing for the MRI machines, reduce energy consumption for MRI machines. Weaknesses. It's high cost. Make MRI accessible to undervised populations in some regions. Energy consumption of MRI machines contributes to the environmental footprint of healthcare facilities. Availability and then duration of MRI. And I just got like some questions. My questions are: have either of you had an MRI?
Yes, I have.
What was it
Yeah.
on?
So what happened one day was I fainted and I went in and they didn't know what was wrong with me because I was apparently like super healthy. And they did an MRI, like a full body MRI. I don't know. They thought I had like a stroke or a heart attack or whatever. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I just fainted that one time and then nothing ever came out of it. But that's that single time I ever had an MRI.
See, like that's what I'm saying. They're useful for a lot of like things to like see what's really wrong with people. Gives you like
Yeah.
that deep body analysis.
Yep.
What were you saying, Paul?
So, long story short, I tore my PCL playing spike ball. Then I had a golf tournament the next day. So a week later, I got an MRI and they told me my leg was broken.
Jeez,
So that was
that's pretty
fun.
gnarly.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty
then
gnarly.
I broke it a second time at post prom.
Um, I'm just gonna skip
But
the next
yeah,
one. Do you think this is an effective piece of technology? Why or why not?
I believe it is. I mean, it's like an X-ray for your muscles, pretty much. You don't really have anything else like it.
Yeah, even with all like the setbacks with like the availability and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they
I
could be
think
improved upon. Right?
Yeah,
You can talk, Chris.
now go ahead, Paul.
No, I'm just saying like they could be improved upon. It's good where it's at now, but everything could always be improved on.
yeah, for sure. I agree. I
Yeah. And
agree.
then the only other
All
thing I
right.
would add to that is yeah, like it's not as accessible obviously everywhere, but like it's really expensive equipment. So I guess as like the technology progresses, then it'll become more widely available, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure that's the goal in the medical field.
I feel like even with
And then I
mine,
just got
just
my
looking at yours, I
references.
feel like what I'm going to talk about as far as what are the benefits is accessibility as well, but it's okay.
All right. All right. Well, that's that.
All
Let
right.
me
Thank you, sir.
figure out how to do this
Mhm.
back up. Thank you
Chris, do you
guys.
want to go or do you want me to
Sharing.
go?
I can go now.
All right.
Just
How
go.
do I stop sharing?
There's like a big stop sharing button somewhere on your screen, I'm pretty sure. There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Hold on. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Which one are you seeing? Are you seeing my presenter notes or are you seeing my actual slides?
I'm seeing the
It says
notes
statement
still.
of principles related to the values.
What the heck?
adapting and security, and it's like a bunch of people.
Okay. Hold on. Let me escape. I might just run through it like this. All right. Here we go. So I chose to do my technology assessment on point of sale technologies, aka POS technologies. And then, all right, so POS technologies, like I said, it doesn't mean piece of shit technologies. It stands for point of sale. It stands for point of sale, which is what every single one of us uses to facilitate modern day transactions. So what are they actually? They're not piece of shit technologies. So a point of sale system is the combination of hardware and software used to process a business transaction between two parties. And hold on a sec. Just gotta, I realized I didn't start my timer, but it's okay. All right. So hardware is everything on the right side right here. Can you guys see my mouse as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's everything over here. So it can be really simple. It could be bare bones like this, a phone and a card reader. And then one step up from that would be like a tablet they have at the restaurants. And then like the highest level, I guess, would be the cash register with a receipt system and then like a scan gun to like at a big store, I'm guessing like a Costco or even at a like a clothing store, retail store, they would have one of these. And then the software that is used in these technologies is recently has become much more important than the hardware. The hardware hasn't really evolved that much anymore after the tablet came out. So it would be like software such as Square or Shopify, which can help business owners with inventory. It can help them communicate with their bank, and it can even help them offer loyalty programs. So this technology facilitates communication between a merchant's online store if they do have one and their physical locations. All right, so history of the POS technology. I'm gonna kind of, well, I'm just gonna go these. I tried to sum them up as best I could, but this is what I ended up with. So in 1879, James Ritty, a saloon owner, created a device that could register the amount of cash transactions recorded at his saloon because he was tired because employees were stealing money. So after this, he sold the rights of his invention to Jacob H. Kettering, and this device was actually based on the Abacus. I'm sure you guys have seen one of these. I've seen them in movies, but up until I did research for this, I didn't even know how they worked or what they were for. I just remember I had one as a kid as well. So then in 1950s London, the brothers Henry and Sam Gross created a manufacturing company where their goal was to build, sell, and export cash registers. And then in 1958, Bank of America launched the first successful modern credit card in California. And after Bank of America did this, like all the other banks started to copy them. So it then kind of became a competition, not just who could launch successful credit cards, debit cards, but also which businesses would accept them because this was clearly going to be the next big step in technology in this type of technology. So then the Gross brothers also managed to create in 1971 a cash register that could handle conversion of currencies, and then that made them really rich. And then in 1973, IBM announced the electronic cash register, ECR, which was the first commercially used POS system. So then in New York in 1979, Gene Mosher, I think is how you pronounce that, who owned restaurants in New York, he was kind of like a little like a computer programmer. So he used this technology to pioneer a system for his deli, and he wrote software that worked with his computer. So customers would order at the front restaurant, like the front of the restaurant, and then the order would print out in the kitchen. So this was like basically what's at every Sheetz, Wawa gas station today. Even like the McDonald's have these now. This was like the first iteration. And then in 1985, this guy, Gene Mosher, he continued to develop his technology and created the first color touchscreen POS interface. And then IBM, of course, kind of copied and they did their own version of his technology. So in the late 90s and the mid 2010s, the POS systems evolve into what we have today. Tablets are adapted, and then we get to see this screen every single time we go to like anywhere, even if you're doing it on the app. And what has advanced the most here has been the software. So for my technology assessment, I started with the values of the POS systems. So POS systems, well, I broke it down into two separate parts because these are like traditional values that the systems have always emphasized, which have been efficiency, accountability, and accuracy, and as well as adaptability. So obviously the POS systems help streamline and facilitate the transactions, and then the accountability is there for business reporting purposes and as the inventor originally wanted to, just so like money doesn't end up missing or like employees don't end up stealing things or sorry, or ringing out things that they shouldn't be for cheaper prices. And then adaptability, of course, even since the early days when it was based on an abacus, it kept evolving and evolving. So these are the early values of POS systems. And then here's the modern values of POS systems. So modern POS systems continue to build on the traditional values, but have also placed heavy emphasis on the following values, which have been security, customer centricity, innovation, and sustainability. So security, we see this today since everything is online. Obviously, you don't want to do business with a website that you know is not well protected or doesn't have like a certain level of encryption. And customer centricity is done in order to keep people buying or keep people coming back. Like every single, at least when I go to the mall, most of the stores now, they'll ask you, what's your email, what's your phone number? And then you start getting emails from them all the time. So the POS systems have made it easier to sign people up for these customer reward systems or just email lists. And then innovation, we continue to see like like systems, software systems like Square and Shopify being used to facilitate transactions between business owners and their customers. And sustainability. So some stores right now, they have already started doing the thing where if you don't give them an email, then they have to print you a physical receipt. But if you do have an email on file, they'll just send you a receipt to your email. So these systems face challenges in being implemented in poor countries where small businesses are extremely prevalent. So then, using the values both modern and traditional, I came up with my statement of principles related to the values. This part was a little bit harder for me just because there's like 7 values I had to work with, but I ended up focusing on adaptability and security. And my statement of principles that I came up with is by pushing point of sale systems into a continuous digital space, security, innovation, and sustainability opportunities are abundant. Expanding accessibility of these services into poorer countries will help to empower small business owners across the world to harness the economic opportunities that modern point of sale systems allow. So this is everywhere in the world, like worldwide, we would want to do this. Same thing Cooper said with the MRI. And then policies related to the principles. There's not really any pushback. I did my research on this, but there's not really any pushback on expanding POS systems. It's not really an ethical thing. It's more of an accessibility thing. But some of the policies that I saw that could benefit that are pro, yeah, you could say pro POS systems are things such as the World Bank, which is basically like the UN, but for business development and financial literacy. And in America, here we have SCORE, which is they basically provide small businesses with tools and resources to grow. They give you a mentor and everything. You can go in and these are SCORE, at least here, is free of charge. And then other policies that could be related to these principles, obviously, I guess you could say is the continued expansion of internet access into rural communities, um, accessible, localized POS systems and technologies. So things made in-house, right? Like maybe China doesn't want to use American technology, just like Americans don't want to use Chinese technology. So maybe China invents their own POS systems, and with training programs, if they provide training programs to small business owners over there, then it just makes it easier for everybody. And then the last thing I have here is questions for you guys. So my first question is, what drawbacks, if any, do you see in further advances of POS technologies?
So I don't know if it's like it's just me, but with
Mhm.
POS technologies, like every time like I go to scan my credit card, like I try to tap pay it, it just
Yeah.
never wants to work. That's like the only like issue that I like get. Like I'll be like standing in the front of the line, checking out in front of everybody at Sheets, and I'm like trying to tap my card on the screen. I'm just standing there for like 2 minutes. It's just like not working.
Do you have to be doing the chip?
Like that's the only drawback that I see from it.
Do you have to end up doing the chip, or what do you end up doing?
I usually just pull out cash because I'm just embarrassed.
Oh wow.
I wish I
Yeah, I
had that
mean,
option, but it's always like it's always asking for help, and you have to have like the person come over.
I like
And you,
self-checkout.
yeah, like the self checkout, and you feel stupid.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know if
I
it's
worked I worked in retail. I worked at BJ's, which is like basically Costco. I worked at BJ's for a couple of years. I think it was 2 years. And I helped people with the self-checkout. So I knew everything that could go wrong with the self-checkout. And like they haven't really evolved at all. So I try not to mess up at self-checkout, but it's not you, Paul. Like the self-checkout is just really bad because I still mess up even though I know exactly how to do it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, they're pretty horrible, man. All right, and then my other question is, given the current technological innovations, where do you see point of sale systems going next?
I mean, I
Honestly,
think oh, go ahead.
no, you go.
All right, I was gonna say I kind of like already see like their advancements, like like you could say Microsoft and Apple like picked it up with Apple Pay and like
Mhm.
touch to pay, like just scanning your phone on it. Now you don't even need a card or whatever it
Mhm.
is now with the new stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're just I don't know. Soon they're gonna be able to do it on like I don't know. There's gonna be more gadgets where you don't even have to like hold it or whatever, and they can just scan it.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
was thinking kind of like what Amazon was talking about, like you just walk in the store, grab whatever, and just walk out, and it just already scans it for you somehow. Like
Oh yeah,
there's
yeah.
no
I saw
line
those
or
stores.
anything. It's just kind of like a walk in, walk out situation.
I've seen
Yeah.
that before. I've seen
They have
something like
like
Yeah.
they have like those tags that like the store knows when you're walking out with something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that's one. I didn't want to give you guys an answer straight up, but the only other thing I can see that's probably gonna happen is like with all the cryptocurrency and like what do they call it? Um,
Bitcoin.
yeah, yeah, Bitcoin, but there's another thing. I don't know, they call them like wallets or something, like the transactions are digital.
that.
So
Yeah.
I can see that being the next step, but like that's why I made my statement like to expand accessibility because I was talking to my little brother. My little brother lives in Mexico, and I was like, we were talking about this presentation, and I told him he's telling me that sorry, I told him that POS systems, like if you push this into like an underdeveloped country, like or underdeveloped community, like this could be a good business to like simply educate people and then sell them the technology. And then he's like, yeah, it's funny though, because he's like, we just started, like right now, within the last 3 years, we started getting people and businesses taking credit cards and debit cards.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a huge thing even in like I mean, I didn't really like get onto it really until this year. But I
Really?
felt like most stores like in the mall like around me didn't really like adapt and like accept like Apple Pay and stuff like that. But now people are starting to like, all right, this stuff is like cool and they're like adding it to their stores.
Yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, like I'm just gonna skip my last question. Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Thank you. All right.
All right, I
Paul?
guess I'm the last one.
Yes, you are.
That's emails. There we go. All right. I am doing my presentation on the Humble forklift.
Oh yeah.
So, background. 1906, the first stacker crane was introduced, which was a manual device used for stacking materials in warehouses. So basically, the precursor to the forklift. in the 1920s, Yale and Town created the first electric forklift truck, revolutionizing warehouse operations by making material handling more efficient. 1930s, companies like Clark and Heister introduced internal combustion engine powered forklifts so they can work outside unlike the electric ones. And in 1950 to today, forklifts have drastically evolved, and now we have automatic or automated forklifts. Values. Transporting heavy material, of course, to warehouses, factories, and storage areas, because carrying heavy things long distances is not fun. Inventory management. So organizing and retrieving stock in said warehouses and distribution centers. Also retail for stocking shelves like Costco or BJ's, and construction sites and shipping yards. So like moving like construction material or like heavy shipping containers. Principles. Uh, so one of the big ones is load capacity. Forklifts are designed to carry a specific maximum weight. If you surpass that, you're risking tipping the forklift, and that is not good. Same with lift and height, lift height and reach. There we go. It's the same thing. There's a max height that the forklift can reach, so don't go past that. I don't think most forklifts stop at a certain point. Maneuverability. So forklifts are typically designed for tight spaces because they have to move in little tiny alleys and aisles, and safety protocols like proper handling and proper training on how to use a forklift because they can be very dangerous. As you can see, uh, these guys are not following policy. Everyone's okay.
I was gonna ask you if you'd seen that video before.
Yeah, I had to take an OSHA class, so I'm very aware of all the things and what not to do.
Yeah, that's a good example of what not to do.
Hmm. So, operating training or operator training. So you must have some sort of training or forklift certification. There we go. Um, it's not like driving a car. You actually have to know what you're doing. Things can go very wrong. Forklift maintenance because you got to make sure it's working well. Got to make sure all those tires are inflated. There's gas or propane, so it's actually running. Electrical, same thing. No alcohol or drug use. I think that's pretty obvious. Do not operate a forklift inebriated. That would not be a good thing, especially arriving at work. And speed limits to prevent collisions and knocking stuff over because they are not race cars. They are used to pick up heavy stuff slowly. Analysis of practices. Oh, I don't have a card for that. So, training and certification. So proper training, go through, learn how to use it properly. Daily pre-operation check. Is there a key to make sure it runs? Do you have gas? Do you have functioning tires? Zero tolerance for substance abuse. That should just also be an obvious when arriving at work. Don't do that. And speed monitoring as well. A lot of people put speed limits or speed monitors on their forklift to prevent speeding, so they can only go a certain amount of speed, like tops 15 at the very most. And group questions. Should we improve on the design of the modern forklift?
You want to answer that, Cooper?
Do you believe there is a way that they can be improved?
I'll start. I'll answer first then. So the only thing I can see with, I mean, I guess forklifts are already pretty peak technology, but the only thing that I could see that would make them even better is just making them like you guys might hate me for this, AI controlled. But that's the
I'm
next
a
the next
robotics major, so I'm not bothered by it.
yeah, there you go. So then AI, have you heard of Industry 4.0?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think that's the next step for the forklift. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just gonna talk to other technology in the factory. It's gonna talk to computers and they don't know exactly where to go. They don't know when to stop. It won't be
Kind of
like
like
those little
those
shitty robots
Amazon
that they
warehouses
haven't.
nowadays.
What'd you say?
They're kind of like the Amazon warehouses nowadays. How they all
Yeah.
have like self-operated. They pick up the package, move it over.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
saying it won't be like the shitty robots they have at Giant or Wise that just walk around.
You don't like Marty?
I don't know his name, but that guy.
That's his name, yeah. Marty the robot.
Dude, he was glitching today. I went there earlier and he was really glitching. I felt kind of bad. All right. Cooper, do you have an
Next
answer to
question.
that?
I don't know how you can improve forklift. I mean, I guess AI would make it better, I guess.
Okay. So, do you believe forklifts are necessary for the workforce, or are they just a safety hazard?
I think they are 100% necessary. I mean, I don't know if like a forklift necessarily, but a piece of equipment is needed to lift the weight on jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I
You know what I
still think
mean?
that
You
they're
got to have something to do that.
I guess this kind of ties in with my last question. Have forklifts done more harm than good from like your like knowledge? Do you believe they've done more good than harm or harm from good?
I don't know how many people die from forklifts a year, but I'm sure that obviously
Feel it.
human life is super valuable, but I'm sure that in the long term, all the warehouses and the people that run the forklifts have done much more good than harm.
I agree with that statement.
That's the end of my presentation.
All right, thank you,
I believe that's
Paul.
the done of all our presentations. Awesome.
Look at us.
Awesome.
Yep. All right.